What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here to give you another keys to the game for the NFL Divisional round. This one is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chiefs had a bye. Andy Reid off a bye in his career, whether it was with the Eagles, now with the Chiefs. He's been very successful off a bye, one of the best coaches ever off a bye, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Steelers can come in and defeat them. Steelers come off a victory over Miami, who beat them earlier in the season. It was a convincing victory. Defense looked strong, forcing turnovers, good pass rush. Offense, Leveon Bell was a beast. Antonio Brown was a beast. So they bring that hot offense and hot defense into Kansas City in an environment that will be hectic. The fans will be ready to go. The fans will be wanting to get their first win since I think like 1994. So it's going to be pretty crazy there in Kansas City, especially with the weather. This game was moved back, so make sure that you watch it at the time that it's assigned to watch. And also, I think that this game is going to be very exciting. I'm not exactly sure when I was thinking about what the score would be for this game because I think the weather could really impact the score and actually the game itself. Whether it's really icy, cold, snowing, or whatever, I think it's going to really impact the game. So the Kansas City Chiefs versus Pittsburgh Steelers. What are the keys to the game in this one? Well, let's start off with the obvious. Leveon Bell. I mean, this guy is a beast. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. The Kansas City Chiefs' weakness on defense, for the most part this year, has been their running defense. So if Pittsburgh's going to be successful, whether that's in the ice, snow, rain, in the ocean, on Mars, the Steelers are going to try and run the football. It doesn't matter where the Kansas City Chiefs play or when they play. It's the Steelers' game plan. If you guys notice this season, the Pittsburgh Steelers, ever since getting Le'Veon Bell back, have been a run-first oriented team. They haven't passed very much. They rely off the run game, the short throws to Le'Veon Bell. It's a very Le'Veon Bell-centered offense. And without Le'Veon Bell, they would really struggle because it's a run game. It's short screens and passes off that. It's using his vision to make plays. And then it's play action with Ben, hitting Brown deep, hitting the other receivers down the field, hitting tight ends over the middle. So that's what the offense is oriented to this season. And Le'Veon Bell, of course, is the main focus. Can you stop Le'Veon Bell? No. Can you contain him? Yes. I think the Chiefs probably will struggle with Le'Veon Bell. I'm going to be honest. I think this is the guy that could potentially be the game breaker for both sides. But I think there's also a game breaker for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that game breaker is Travis Kelce. He is my second key to the game. The key to the game is Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been not very good at covering tight ends pretty much ever. I mean, the last 5 seasons, I don't think they've ever covered tight ends very great. And you could say that Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league right now because Rob Gronkowski is obviously out. So Travis Kelce has been playing great, his best season of his career. And he's been the focal point of the Kansas City Chiefs without a real strong run game, which is an interesting thing because the Chiefs have usually been very strong with their run game. But of course, they're going to try and run the ball. But I think where the Chiefs will be successful is passing the ball. The Dolphins did have some success moving the ball through the air, especially with Jarvis Landry last week. They just caught the ball up. They weren't really confident, and their defense made them come from behind way too early in that game. So for the Chiefs, I think Travis Kelce will be a huge, huge mismatch for the Steelers. Maybe they'll try putting Shazier or one of their safeties on him, maybe a quicker guy, because Kelce is not really like Gronk physical or Witten physical. He's kind of more a finesse guy, but he does have that beef to him. So it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch and see what the Steelers try and do. They do play a lot of zone. They don't really go to a lot of man. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Andy Reid pulls up. But I think that's going to be the two guys that could be the X factors on both sides of the ball. Le'Veon Bell, Travis Kelce. Then we go to a matchup in particular. I think that this matchup, if the Chiefs want to be successful, has to happen. Marcus Peters has to be covering Antonio Brown as much as humanly possible. Marcus Peters is a guy that last season I kind of felt was a playmaker, but not a shutdown corner. And this season, he's turned more to the shutdown corner. Still is a playmaker, but has more been a lockdown guy. And I feel like this season, he hasn't really been moving around, and following #1 receivers for whatever reason. And I guess that's their defensive scheme. But if they want to be successful against arguably the best wide receiver in football, Antonio Brown, they need to have Marcus Peters covering him as much as possible, especially because the rest of the receivers on the Steelers aren't really a huge threat. There's one thing if they had Martavius Bryant, but now that they don't have Martavius Bryant and they haven't this entire season, you got to look at Antonio Brown and say, this is the only guy through the air that can really beat us other than Le'Veon Bell, so we need to put our best guy on him. And if I'm the Chiefs, I'm putting him on Antonio Brown as much as humanly possible. Also, that goes to the counterpoint of the Steelers need to have a different playmaker step up through the air, whether that's Eli Rogers, whether that's Ladarius Green, whether that's the road dog Jesse James. I mean, one of these guys need to step up for Antonio Brown as well, and for Big Ben. Next is the Steelers' run D. You could say that the Chiefs' run D is going to have to play really well. Pretty much said that. But also, the Steelers' run D has to play very well. Because when the Chiefs are able to run the football, that's when they're the most successful. Really, any team is the most successful because they can use, different plays to their advantage. They're set up in shorter situations. And especially for the Chiefs, a team that doesn't really throw the football down the field very much, it's a team that really depends on getting second and shorts, third and shorts, and moving the chains through 3 downs and not necessarily 2 downs. And they really like to have long drives. They're not a team that's really going to beat you with a long play, maybe every once in a while with Tyreek Hill, or every once in a while on defense, they might get like a pick 6 or something. But on offense, they're not really going to get a long run or a long throwing touchdown. It's going to be a sustainable time of possession sort of football team. And if the Steelers can shut that run game down, that's forcing the ball into Alex Smith's hands. That's letting your guys like Harrison get after the passer. And that's also having to rely on Alex Smith to make big plays on 3rd and longs, where they're really not the most successful. And that's where guys like Tyreek Hill, Jeremy Maclin, Travis Kelce will have to come in and play big. I do think the Steelers will have success shutting down the Kansas City run game because they haven't been very good this year. But I think that Alex Smith will have some success through the air. I think all his targets will have good matchups and will be able to move the football down the field. So I think that this will be more of an offensive game. I think both teams will be able to score. I think a lot of it will be red zone offense, who can score touchdowns instead of score field goals, and also who can force those 3rd and longs and get their defense off the field and put their offense back on. Again, with Kansas City, it also factors in that you need to protect the football for both teams. Kansas City really prides itself on protecting and forcing turnovers. And also, the Steelers, especially Ben, who's been throwing way too many interceptions this year, needs to protect that football in order to win this game in Kansas City. The last point I want to make is the kicking game. It's something that not a lot of people look at when they factor in playoff games and playoff success. But Tyreek Hill is a guy that's been very dangerous. If you're the Steelers, you want to kick the ball out as much as possible. You don't want to let this guy touch the football. You want this guy to have 1 to 2 touches in this game. And I know that Kansas City is going to try and get the ball to him on offense. So keep it down in the kicking game. And the Steelers have kind of been not very good with their kicking coverage this year. So they want to kick it out as much as possible. Also, the kickers will be big in maybe a cold weather game. It could come down to a field goal. So Santos will have to be big. And the punters, kickers, you got to take that all into account, especially in a game like this where it might be cold, it might be windy, it might be snowing. You never know. So the kicking is going to be huge. The kicking game is going to be huge. The run game is going to be huge. And I think Travis Kelce and Le'Veon Bell will be the X factors to the game. All right. So who am I picking? I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs in a very close game. I think it will be something like 27-23 or 23-20. It could be a 3 to 4 point game, even maybe less than that. I could obviously see the Steelers winning this football game, but at the end of the day, I think Kansas City is the more balanced team. I think they're at home, and this gives them a huge advantage. I also feel like the Steelers have not played or proven anything on the road all season long. And as a Pittsburgh fan, that would really scare me. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the high potent offense in Kansas City. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. Gronk, spike that like button. Get better, buddy. And subscribe to the channel for more NFL content. Previews like this all the way throughout the playoffs. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.